Once upon a time, there was nothing except one deity left over from the previous universe. This deity was Pharasma. Maybe you know Pharasma today as the deity who shows dead souls where to go in the boneyard. But back then it was only Pharasma. Then a bunch of other deities came. They decided to create a new universe. It worked! So they put that universe aside and decided to create a new universe. They called this second universe the material plane. Then a creepy Cthulhu beast called Rovagug tried to eat everything. So Sarenrae gathered all the other deities to team up and bring Rovagug into the material plane and lock him inside a planet. That planet was Golarion. Golarion at this time was full of serpent folk. Then a portal opened up to another planet, and elves came through. Deep under the ground was a network of caves called the Darklands. It was filled with orcs. Then Toreg said he was sick of forging things, so he created a new species to forge things for him. This species was called the dwarves. Toreg gave them a prophecy. If you ever feel the earth shake, go to the sky. Under the water, freaky squid things called aboliths decided they wanted something to control, so they created the humans. The aboliths disguised themselves as wizards and taught the humans how to do magic and civilization. The humans then made a new empire called the Aslanti Empire. That empire was so successful, they kicked all the serpent folk down into the Darklands. One day in the outer plains, Desna was traveling with her deity mentor, the god of beasts. Then a freaky demon lord came and killed the god of beasts and became Lamashtu, mother of monsters. Lamashtu made a new beast called a Barghest. One time a Barghest killed a human, and from its blood emerged the first 4 goblins. In the Aslanti Empire, a new human called Eredin was born, but the aboliths were getting tired of how the humans were behaving, so they decided to create a huge meteor to kill them all. The elves thought this was a bad idea, so they opened a portal to their home planet and left. But the aboliths miscalculated how big the meteor was going to be. The meteor exploded on the surface of Golarion and filled the sky with big clouds of ash and dust. All the aboliths were destroyed or sent into hiding. The Aslanti Empire was also destroyed, but a few humans survived, including Eredin. They traveled from the shattered island of Aslanti to a new continent of Avestan. Meanwhile, in the Darkland, the dwarves heard the giant explosion caused by the meteor and decided it was time to find the sky. They started digging up to the surface, but accidentally started chasing all their enemy orcs up as well. When the orcs reached the surface, they began terrorizing the humans and took over Golarion. 100 years later, the dwarves emerged as well. When they found their old enemy, the orcs, they started to fight them back. The dwarves made 10 sky citadels. Meanwhile, the first world the deities created started getting filled with unicorns and fairies, and strange creatures called gnomes. The gnomes thought the material plane looked a lot more fun, so they decided to jump on in. Unfortunately for the gnomes, jumping into the material plane was like jumping into a bucket of acid, except instead of acid, it was boredom. The gnomes realized if they didn't keep doing new things, they would slowly turn gray and die. This was called the bleaching. Some of the remaining humans made a new country called Taldor. Around this time, one of the dwarven sky citadels was taken over by orcs and renamed Urgur. A human wizard obsessed with knowledge told a bunch of other humans to make the country of Osirian. That wizard learned so much, eventually his brain exploded and he became a deity, Nethys, god of magic. There were also halflings around this time. Where did they come from? Were they there the whole time? Nobody knows, because nobody wrote anything down about them. Eredin was going on some fun adventures when he met his new friend Erasni. Then Erasni died, but she came back as an angel. Eredin eventually found the original meteor that hit Golarion all those years ago, called the Starstone, at the bottom of the inner sea. He dove down into the inner sea and dragged it up to the surface, where he founded the city of Absalom. This feat was so cool, Eredin instantly became a deity, the god of humans. Then a man named Tar-Baphon tried to take over the world, but Eredin killed him. Erasni the angel decided to become Eredin's new herald. The dwarven sky citadels weren't doing so good. Around Highhelm, other dwarves started to make their own kingdom and compete with Highhelm. Eventually they all united under one country, the Five Kings Mountains. Then orcs came and killed everybody outside of Highhelm. Back in Kionin, a demon lord found the Elf Gate and tried to use it to open a portal to the abyss, so the elves came back from their home planet and told him not to do that. In Absalom, people realized they could do something called the Test of the Starstone that would instantly make them a deity. One time a drunk guy named Caden Kale alien decided to try it on a dare. He succeeded and became a deity. Tar-Baphon was dead, but then he came back as a lich. He used an army of orcs and undead to take over the country of Ustalav. The country of Taldor decided they should probably crusade against that guy. This included a paladin named Eomade. Together they asked Eredin to help kill him, but Eredin didn't respond. Instead, he sent his herald, Erasni. Erasni went to defeat Tar-Baphon, but she died. Then the Taldor Crusade came and defeated Tar-Baphon anyway. Eomade decided to do the test of the Starstone, and she succeeded. Eredin decided to make her his new herald, because his old herald was dead. Erasni died, but then she came back against her will as a lich. Now she hates Eredin and all gods and crusaders. In the Five Kings Mountains, the dwarves finally got their other kingdoms back from the orcs. Then a volcano erupted and killed everybody. Eventually, a region of Taldor decided to declare independence and became a new country called Cheliax. They decided they were Eredin's new chosen kingdom. They prophesied he was coming back in the year 4606, and that he would lead Cheliax into the Age of Glory. Cheliax began aggressively expanding their empire. They predicted the exact moment Eredin was supposed to come back to Galarian, and they all waited very excited for it to happen. But then, at that exact moment, they were hit with 3 weeks of horrible hurricanes and storms. When the storms abated, all the priests of Eredin lost their powers. Cheliax descended into civil war, and lost a lot of the territory they had gained before. One of the combatants in the civil war decided to make a deal with Asmodeus. He gave her a devil army, which she used to win the civil war and take over Cheliax. Now Cheliax is a tyrannical empire, and they have halfling slaves. There are a lot more events that happened. There are a lot of other deities as well, but hopefully this gives you some idea about the deities in Galarian and the origin of the different ancestries.